Good evening and welcome along to the latest edition of the Endless Celts Podcast. It's Monday night. It's a couple of days after Trophy Day. I'm joined by my usual Monday folk. Although it's been a while since this Monday lineup has been on due to all manner of things with folk. And I'll come to yourself first, Ed, because it has been, as we were talking off there, it's been a wee while since yourself's been on. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing okay, Franny. Doing okay, mate. Just it was good to be back to the game on Saturday. I hadn't been for ages, just through one thing and another. So yeah, it was good. But we'll discuss my feelings on the game on Saturday later on.
Not a problem. Yourself, Anthony, how's you?
Not too bad actually. I actually took a wee day trip the day. Went down to the Lake District randomly. Went for a wee walk up a hill.
Not bad.
Came back up the road, had a Burger King on my way back up the road at Gretna Green. Happy days.
It's a nice services, Gretna Green. Gretna Green's a nice services.
Yeah. Nice wee outlet.
Nice one.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones, to be fair. There's some shit tools, but no, as you said, Jed, we'll get into Monday's game up. But before we do, just a Monday, a wee Monday moan. Anything you need to get off your chest in life or football related, just anything. Anything yourself, McGinty?
Other drivers. I know we all hate other drivers anyway, but after driving along the M6 and the M74, I can safely say that other drivers have no self-awareness of anything. Like, the amount of fucking idiots that actually drive down the middle lane is ridiculous. All the ones who, like, if you're in the first lane, they come down the middle lane and then they just sit at that awkward point where they can see that a truck is coming up towards me. And if I want to indicate to come into the middle lane, they're a bit too close that will end up fucking swiping each other out. You sit there with fucking indicators on for like 15 seconds. Then you eventually have to slam your own brakes on because these are fucking idiots that can't fucking speed up or move to the side. I'm like, you dude, absolutely no awareness from other people. It's mental.
Anything for yourself, Jed?
Aye. Funny, the room I'm sitting in now, they've not kept. Asked the daughters if they tidied it. They went, aye. So if they change the cam, move the camera angle and that in.
Good man. I'm glad you're not tidying it. I'm glad you're not tidying it. I will. My one is, and Ross will actually listen to this back and be like, you've got some there, but I hate runners. See if they've done like a marathon or any sort of race and they get the t-shirt and they feel like they need to wear it for about 3 weeks every time they're out a run. I'm like, I mean, Ross will laugh because I done it at the weekend when me and him went out a run, but it was more just to wind them up to do it. But I hate runners that wear a t-shirt they've just been a run on. But we'll just kind of come to you, Jed, just on, as it was Trophy Day on Saturday. There was a wee bit I kind of want to talk about tifo gate. I feel like first, obviously the Green Brigade had a tifo prepared, but were denied to present or display that tifo. Now I'm going to obviously be folk might in the comments put me up here. I've said my piece about them plenty of times and stuff, but surely Saturday's display, it was surely not going to be anything offensive. And I think Celtic, maybe as much as I didn't want it to be about them, and I think it kind of inadvertently ended up being about them, with Celtic saying no, we've got our own thing planned, and obviously just watched it and tell like not everybody participated in that, but surely the Green Brigade's display couldn't have been to a level that it needed to be banned. Surely to God.
Can I just ask, is the Celtic organised tifo in the room with us just now?
It was just flags apparently.
I was told to bring them home. I brought them home to give them to somebody, and we can't find them. Don't know what they've done with them. So but listen, we've all had a moan about the Green Brigade at times, but when they do the full stadium tifos, it is phenomenal. You can't deny that, and that was just amateurish hour from the club, and they were that petty. They didn't even put anything in the North Cove section. Never put any of them in there. No, they missed it out completely. When you think back, the tifo's about the one that's standing walking in the shoulder of giants and stuff. They were stunning, absolutely brilliant, and it would have been something else. And I think there may have been a wee. I don't think there would have been anything offensive. I think there may have been a wee cheeky banner or something like that. Maybe Simple the Best or something like that. We may have done something that, but I don't think there would have been anything. But listen, yes, the Green Brigade stepped out of line before as well, but I will stick up for them when it comes to the full stadium tifos. They do a fantastic job.
No, I totally agree, Jed, and I've come to say, Anthony, it's, yeah, like Jed said, they have had some questionable tifos. A bit questionable in the sense it just depends on your opinion inside the fence at the end of the day, some of the stuff they put out. But generally in days like Saturday, they generally are bang on the money. Got some good, yeah, like Jed said, there might have been a wee subtle slide dig at the board and they maybe are not too keen to that, but you can't, if there has always got to be that. And Jed touched on that maybe because I had Simply the Best. I mean, Celtic I've had an absolute open goal for a couple of weeks since the Derby match and never once used that Simply the Best. I'm not saying we need to start adopting it and playing it every weekend, but especially in trophy, even when we lifted the trophy, they could have done something instead of just, I mean, I thought their tweet was funny when they put it out and they were got to put the most successful club. They joked about putting Simply the Best. I mean, that was good, but have a wee bit in the stadium for the fans and that as well, Anthony. But the tifo, surely it wasn't got to be anything bad that would have looked bad on Celtic.
I'll take the Simply the Best kind of thing. Just quickly, I'm kind of glad we're not touching it too much.
Yeah.
But I want us to do enough as either a support base or the club media, whatever side you want it. I want us to do enough that can kill that song for them and embarrass them for ever playing it, much like the whole 55 thing. I don't want us as a club to officially adopt it. I don't want us as a club to officially start plastering 55 league titles and all this nonsense. Just enough to lay the seed in there and say, we beat you. To kill their mood. That's enough for me. So if it's the fans that put up a tifo maybe at some point or sing the song ironically the next time they come to Celtic Park, I'm all for that because it will just kill them and ruin it for them for the rest of the terms here, and I'm okay with that. As far as the tifo's concerned, well, the lack of a tifo at this point now, I actually just saw a post from Celts Are Here on Twitter. Somebody put it on the forum earlier on. It was about them not participating in the post-match fan press conference, whatever it was that the Celtic were doing, and they basically were saying, look, we're not taking up the option because we've been treated like shit. And I think that ties in a bit with the full stadium tifo and what the Green Brigade bring. As Jed says, these ones are usually spot on. These are usually fantastic to look at. The club has not been shy in the past to milk that on the back of what the Green Brigade do. They've monetized that for their own benefit, which generally nobody would have an issue with. But you can't now turn around and say, well, fuck you, you're not bringing one in. And then the Celtic official version of it was literally a bunch of green and white flags in rows of 4. Like, really? That was it? There's no slogan to it. There's no motto. There was no, no
real imagination, is there?
1888 sort of thing. There's nothing to it.
If they're going to do flags, do bigger flags.
But do bigger flags, do something.
Do bigger flags.
But to bring it back to what the Celts Are Here are saying, like, they're pissed off because there's been no engagement with fan media. They feel like fan media is basically getting fucking bitch slapped to the side. And it's same with the Green Brigade. Jed, as you said, these tifos, especially in these kind of games, are usually all about the club, all about the team, all about celebration and stuff.
Achievements.
Yes, they've done some tifos that have had political motives behind them. Of course, we've done the Palestine flags or rest of it, and I'm not going to get into the debate of whether or not that's right or wrong or neither here nor there. Doesn't matter what side of the fence we all sit on that one. But when it comes to the weekend stuff, why can the club not have just spoke to the Green Brigade and says, look, sometimes this is a bit controversial. What is it you're planning to actually display here? And work with the Green Brigade and get a fucking great tifo going. And see if you give that olive branch out to the Green Brigade and say, look, we're going to let you keep doing it, but we just want to make sure it's going to be tickety-boo. And it turned out that it was a fucking, I don't know, a big fucking burning Israel flag or fucking Michael Nicholson fucking get the fuck out banner, which we all saw in the corner anyway.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. They've got that in there, so it couldn't be that bad.
If it was going to be something like that, and the Green Brigade gazumped the board after having a bit of talk, then the board can come out and say, make a statement and say, oh, look, we had discussions, we were disappointed with the angle that they took. It's not what we expected. From here on forward, there'll be no more tifos because you've let yourself down. Give them a little bit of rope and let them let themselves down. The Green Brigade, that is. But don't just say no to it and completely wipe it off when it's one of these days, celebrational. These are usually fantastic. These are seen across the world. These are, people in Dortmund and, fucking Warsaw and across, people, even Gavin was telling you probably just now, people in fucking Turkey right now talking about Celtic peoples and the Celtic fans and shit like that. It's, people in Argentina see this shit, and yet here we are, fucking flag. The fuck?
That Gallaudet. It was
Aye.
Gallaudet. Aye, no, it wasn't great, Jed, and I don't know if that maybe just set the tone for the day.
It's embarrassing.
It was, and especially with being on Sky and stuff and that as well. That's maybe when you use, as horrible as that's probably when you use the Green Brigade to your advantage in that situation. Is their tifo generally, like you both said, on days like the day, it's usually on the money. It's about celebration, it's about the achievements and stuff. But just going into the game, I mean, personally myself, like we'll come to yourself anyway, Jed. Sometimes I feel like days like Saturday just get in the way at the end, like trophy day, it just gets in the way. The game sometimes it can be, sometimes they're big wins, sometimes what Saturday was, and it was just one of the games for me. It just, I mean, obviously we'll get into how everybody's mood changed with one guy, but it was not a great game of football. Up in second half, maybe a wee bit, but in the main, it was not a great game of football.
Well, first and foremost, when the team was in, when I seen it on Twitter, 11:15, and I seen the team, I was really disappointed because I was frightened in case there was another injury. I was hoping they were going to get the same team that started at Aberdeen and then bring a few of them on, because let's be honest, that's the team that's going to start on Saturday. So it is. But at half time, I said to my daughter, I says, this has just got a friendly feel about it. We had no intensity, especially in the first half. And just near the end of it, all I was saying, please just get a goal, just don't get beat. Because I remember we got beat a few, Brendan Rodgers' second season, I think it was, when Aberdeen won 1-0. Right. But that got them into the Champions League qualifying. But it was just, I just felt we weren't at the races at the weekend, but that's understandable. But I just hope they cannot go out with that mindset on Saturday. No, they can. Because we have to be up for this game when it comes.
No, I totally agree, Jed. And just kind of touching on what Jed said there, Anthony, like players, it did look like players were holding back there. I'm with Jed, I think, barring any injuries in training, that's your starting lineup for Saturday. Obviously, we'll get into it more. We'll discuss what we think with performances. Has anybody played their way in or out Saturday? But do you think, not necessarily, like, I mean, hindsight's a great thing. Wednesday's team probably would have gave us a better game, especially what they've done. But considering what happened to Hatate on Wednesday, do you think maybe that played into some of the performance on Saturday? Because they know, I mean, it's never a meaningless game, or certainly for a fan, we'll look at it and say it's never a meaningless game. Yes, St Mirren had European football riding on it, so they had to go for it a bit, but a lot of the players could write their name in, as much as we've done a lot of histories. I think it'll be 6 and 9 year if we complete it on Saturday, but it's still historic to do a treble. So a lot of the players in that park on Saturday are probably going, I'll just pull it any 60-40, even in their favour, and that just get through the game, because they probably know they're playing out. Maybe that, like Hatate's injuries, maybe played on some boys.
Possible, very, very likely and very possible. We see this often at the end of the season as well, especially when you win the league with 3 or 4 games to go, you usually see that drop off. You know, you could go 34 games and only get beat once and 2 draws, and then all of a sudden the last 4 games you lose 2 of them. You're like, the fuck happened there? And I think it's a bit of everything, a bit of what you're saying there about people not wanting to get injured, people looking at the cup final and wanting to make sure they're playing in it. A few players maybe just take the head off the game sort of thing. We actually saw this a couple of months ago. There's a run of games, and it got to a point, I think Rodgers actually did come out in a press conference after a match and was like, yeah, I'm going to have to fucking boot them up the arse at this point. I think, Jed, I think me and you were on here one night when we were talking
about
not
the St. Johnson game.
St. Johnson the draw, yeah. And it kind of brought us back to life. And what was it, 3 games we scored 5 goals in a row? Then we didn't score 5 when it was like the Aberdeen game sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's maybe just a combination of a few things, all that put together.
By the way, it was Warham. It was Warham as well. And so, and I was maybe thinking it was that as well. It was Warham, so they're maybe not wanting to.
Aye. The commentators, and I actually found this quite poor from Celtic's point of view. The commentators, just as the second half was starting, actually made a point of saying that St. Mirren had asked for a water break to be introduced in the second half, and Celtic said no, which I thought was actually quite poor.
See, on
really
that,
was a fucking hot day.
Do you think they asked that at half time? No, I don't know. And obviously Celtic's poor half, they thought, well, they're obviously tiring, try to break up the game. Maybe they just thought, Celtic thought that might just give them a wee bit of edge or something. Like subconsciously, maybe in the St. Mirren's players gone, they'll maybe go, well, we think we'll get a water break, but now we're not. So maybe just subconsciously they get tired out of that. And Celtic maybe can feed off that.
Maybe no.
I'm only guessing that's that at half time.
Of course, it's all hypothetical. But I think if that was the case, hypothetically, of course, I think that would just annoy me more that we would play such low tactics to, because we would benefit from the water break as well as anybody else. I mean, I know we all joked about it years ago when we started doing this every so often. Like, oh fuck, man, it's not like we're playing in fucking Spain or fucking Africa or something with water breaks. That's pure hilarious because you only have a sort of at the big World Cup tournaments. But it's really fucking warm the last few weeks. It's really fucking hot. So players
after the game, Anthony, walking back, it was roasting. So that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that had something to do with it as well. But I'm disappointed they didn't have water breaks because I think both teams could have benefited from it.
Absolutely. I've lost where we were going. What was the original question again, Fanny?
Just sort of a kind. I don't know what about going off tangents. I totally forgot about that whole water break thing. It was just more like obviously Wednesday performance with guys like Atty getting injured and sort of 50-50s, maybe playing into the performances. Some players are not being totally out of races.
Yeah, to try and bring it back and keep it short then, I think it's just a wee combination of everything. It's disappointing from a fan's point of view because you're on trophy day, you want to see a 4-5 goal thriller sort of thing. So it is disappointing. But as we'll touch on later on, the main man got what he needed. At the end, as Jed said, we didn't get beat. So we'll take the small positives where it is, and I firmly and fully believe that come the weekend, we will be firing all cylinders. We will be looking to get 3 or 4 goals easy.
Can I also mention as well what I was really disappointed, and I don't know what this guy's right. I know Nawrocki, he's not put a foot wrong any time he's played. I know he's playing in Carter Vicker's position, but my God, he is the games he's played this season. He's been phenomenal, and I feel so sorry for him. And I think the vast majority of fans. I don't know what the people who are watching this, Fran, if anybody puts up any comments, what they think or how they feel about Nawrocki, but I just feel so sorry for the guy. And I think
I agree.
The fan base want him to succeed because they can see there's a player there. Now, I don't know if there's a personality clash with him and Rodgers. Carter Vickers obviously is in front of him, but I thought he could have started on Saturday and then they could have maybe brought Vickers on for the last 10 minutes or something like that.
Nah, totally agree, Jed. And I'll give folk a chance in the comments to maybe put their tuppence in for about Nawrocki because, I mean, I didn't expect him to start on Saturday. Personally, I would start him. I think out of him trusting skills, I would trust him more right now. I think one of his biggest problems is he doesn't move the ball quick enough, especially when he's playing that left centre half position. Also, Rodgers has said that he prefers a left footer. Maybe that's just an easy out for Rodgers to say that, to play trusty and skills. But I do feel for Nawrocki. I think for the benefit of his career, Anthony, I think he maybe has to leave in the summer. But I'm more than happy if he hangs about, because it does look like he'd be an able understudy for certainly CCV. Look, he did play obviously in the right hand side on Wednesday and looked a lot better. And I will defend the guy and say I did feel him move the ball quicker. Maybe suffering a wee bit similar to what Starfelt did, in the sense that Brendan probably has got his favourites. I mean, Shevchenko I thought was a good player and just never got a sniff with Rodgers. Like Jed said, Anthony, maybe his personality issues, obviously we don't see him in training. But certainly on the right-hand side on Wednesday night, he looked a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looked a lot better on the ball. He looked comfier. Starfelt, we always gave him that wee bit of leeway because he was playing the left centre-half. But I think as a defender, certainly presence as well. He's a big laddie. He's everything there to work on, surely.
I agree with Jed and yourself. I think he's a tidy player. He's maybe made one mistake or two mistakes last season. They kind of saw him out the team for a period, but then we were going through spells of even Lagerbielke and Welsh were playing together at one point. I think they went out 4 games without conceding a goal, and they were like the best partnership for the start of last season. Then all of a sudden, both of them are absolutely fucking honking and shit. Stats can be deceiving at times. I find it interesting with Nawrocki because, as I agree with you both, he's not done much wrong really. When we've seen him, especially this season, he's looked tidy, he's looked sharp, he can read the game. He's maybe not the fastest, but he can read the game well. He can time his challenges pretty well. I think he actually can play out from the back a little bit. Not the greatest. He's not going to do any galloping runs like Chris Ayer did, but I think he's decent enough. I just don't get it. I'm with Smell the Glove and Tommy. I think once Rodgers, and this, I don't mean this as a slight for Rodgers, I'm all in on Rodgers. Rodgers can stay for as long as he wants, sort of thing. At the club, there's no a grudge against Rodgers, but he clearly gets his favourites and he sticks by them. And somewhere in the pecking order, Scales and Trusty are his favourites, and the Rocky somehow isn't. And I don't know why. We can debate if it's a personality thing. Is it a clash with Rodgers possible? Maybe. It's kind of been seen before, you said, with Shevchenko and other players. But at the same time, the Rocky, at the end of the games and celebrations, he's quite involved with the other players. And the other players are like pushing him to get involved with like going up to the north corner to get involved with the fan chants and shit. He seems to be involved with the players and the team, but I don't know what's going on in the background. I'm not fully buying the right-footed, left-footed nature of it, because we were quite happy to play Trusty on the right side quite a lot with Scales, and we could all see the imbalance. And this happened with Starfelt when he first came in as well. Played on the wrong side, and it can upset it. It can be a real thing. I'm not saying it's not true. You can see the balance is a bit off, but it never stopped him playing Trusty there. Even though we could all see that he wasn't comfortable, but he got through the games mainly. And I fail to see how Nawrocki couldn't do similar playing on the left side, because he's definitely better than the other two. So why not play him and Carter Vickers and see what they do? Because it's been done before.
Come back. Do you think that? See how obviously Rodgers says he prefers the left footer on the left side. Do you think just to come back straight back at you there, McGinty? Do you think that's where his argument falls down a wee, or that's where his side of his argument falls down a wee bit, where he played Trusty instead of a right footer there?
A little bit, and it kind of begs the question: how much does Rodgers actually believe that, or did he found something that he could say that kind of gives him the out of this is why I'm not doing it, so it's a cover for it, because it doesn't make any sense when he's played other players that out of position. And I know it's totally fucking different for wingers, but plenty of clubs and teams around the world enjoy putting their left footer on the right wing and the right footer on the right.
We do.
I get that totally. Yeah, we do it. Exactly. And I get that's totally different because you're playing a
Scott Sinclair, Brandy Rogers' best signings.
You're coming off from that side to get the shot off with your right foot, your left foot. I totally get it, but it can fucking work. What about teams who play 3 centre backs? You don't have a left-footed and a right-footed or a fucking ambidextrous fucking footed guy in the middle. You just play whoever the fuck is in the middle. He could be left-footed. He could be right-footed. You figure it out. The professional footballers, it's I don't fully buy into the left-sided, right-sided thing. I think it's a bit of a cop-out for Annie.
I sort of agree with you. Kenny, come to yourself a wee bit, just to maybe finish on the Rocket. Do you think, I mean, you go back in history, and even now, most centre-halves are all right-footed. The 2 centre-halves are usually right-footed. John Terry, arguably one of the best left-sided centre-halves in the world, was right-footed. And what was it? Do you think maybe one of Rodgers' Nawrocki's issues is, I mean, obviously last season we all said if there was ever a signing that was a Rodgers one, it was him. But I think we maybe put that down to the fact that he cost $4.5 million. Obviously, the boy Nat Phillips was a Rodgers signing in the summer. But I think looking back now, with the benefit of hindsight, Nawrocki wasn't a Rodgers signing. You look
100%.
You look at the team. Well, you look at the majority of the team last season and even this season. Is it maybe obviously because Rodgers is rightly so pushing the barriers with the board and demanding that they spend a bit more cash on every player, essentially, that he's not saying he doesn't want to go and get your £2-3 million project players, but he really wants to be spending more money. Who's changed that and faked me right it? And then it's
sorry.
And do you think the fact that he's obviously got the board to spend the $6 million on Trusty, he's almost having to try and make that work to try and give him a better hand to justify it, to give him a better hand come the summer to go, this is what spending this money gets you? Well,
listen, I've said numerous times in this podcast that spending £1 million or £50 million doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah,
there's every player you sign is a gamble, but I just feel Nawrocki's just not had a fair crack at the whip, but I don't know what's behind it. I just listen. Let's be honest. Let's say it was. Would we be happy if we seen the starting 11 this Saturday and we had CCV and Nawrocki? Would you be disappointed?
Nah, personally myself, no. Personally myself, no.
So it is, but I just don't know. I just believe that Rodgers, it wasn't a Rodgers signing. And that's him proving a point to the board. Do not give me any more players that I do know nothing about.
This crossed my mind last year as well, near the end of last year, when Nawrocki was, again, not getting a look in. And I was just thinking about it there for a second as you brought it up as well. We all, don't know about you guys specifically, we hadn't joined you at this point, but I think collectively as a group of fans, Celtic fans, collectively, not everybody, but collectively, I think that first summer window with Rodgers when he first came back, we all accepted that guys like, was it Kwon and Yang and Tillio was the kind of legacy signings from Ange. They were already on the way down the line. That was from the Ange playbook sort of thing. But Nawrocki was, I'm sure he was one of the later signings. Well, maybe not late in the window, but I'm sure that like those names I've just rhymed off were like attributed to the legacy. And the Nawrocki one, a lot of us kind of try to piece it in our head of, oh, that's the first Rodgers signing, because seemingly somebody found out that Leicester had looked at him at one point a couple of years back or whatever. So
was it Legia Warsaw we got him from?
Yeah, Legia.
Yeah.
And it was about $4.5 million, was it not?
3.5 million.
I think it was decent cash anyway.
All right. Sorry,
I think I think it quickly after we all kind of assumed that, we've all started realizing, no, fuck, that's not a Rodgers signing for many various reasons. And you might be right in what you're saying there, Jed, because you think back to obviously his first stint, it all went Pete Tong when was it Danny Arzani be signed?
The boy Shved.
It's Shved. And even Rodgers at that point is coming in and was like, don't know why we signed another winger, don't know who he is, sort of thing. And he played him sporadically every so often just to say, here you go. I think he played him one time, he scored a fucking peach of a goal on the right line. And then it was never seen again. You're like, what the fuck? It kind of really has that feeling, doesn't it? Like the Nawrocki one, that is this the remnants of the last player you signed for me, but I didn't fucking want him. Same with Lagi Bielka. Stop fucking doing it, because if I'm right in saying the winter window last year was better for us, and then it's debatable if we've changed to suit the Rodgers sign, are we giving Rodgers more leeway, or are we still doing it the old Celtic way? You get what you get, sort of thing, Mr. Manager.
I think summer will tell that. I think
this
one
100% will tell it.
Yeah,
but
I don't think we won't.
Be.
I think we'll still get a couple of £1 million players, but I think if it's the main guy, if you get 2 or 3, obviously it depends on who leaves. But if you get 3 guys in of real quality that Rodgers is asking for, then I think that'll be a big point in the right direction to say, look, last year wasn't a one-off. We're all in with Rodgers. This is the way we realise we need to move forward as a club now, and this is what we need to do. So
I think we need 5 or 6 in, because
was it we spent last year?
It's about 30, I think. I mean, we never spent if you want to.
I know. The net spent.
The technicality we never spent.
As outgoing money, we had the 11, the 9, and the 6 for Engels, Bernardo, and Trusty. Did we spend anything else other than that? Not including the
Ida.
Ida.
Bernardo's 3.5. So yeah, 30 million. Bernardo, Ida,
and you got. I think it was about 26 for 27 for O'Reilly.
We got
Mikey Johnson went. Boston Mawal went for 3 million.
And the Jota Kyogo thing was basically a swap.
Aye.
But I was just trying to think, see if we spent 25 to 30 million, and I don't overly care. I know this will sound a bit weird. Some people will listen to me rant on about wanting us to push the boat out and stuff. I don't care how much money we bring in, so long as we spend an adequate amount of money actually on the team. So if we spend another 30 million on 4 or 5 players, I think
realistically that's all fans are expecting, Anthony.
Yeah.
We're not expecting £20 million players. I'm not expecting everybody to be Arne Engels value.
So, but would you say we have Bernardo for 3.5, Engels for 11, Ida for 9, and 6? See, that's how I spend 30 million every fucking summer. I'm okay with that. Okay, not those 4 specific players, taking away the how good or not good they've been this season, but I just mean that kind of investment in quality, or what should be quality. I'm okay with that, as opposed to we spent 14 million, but it's actually on 7 players at $1.5 million to 2 million each.
But listen, I think we're going to lose. Don't be surprised if we lose Atati or Maeda.
Anybody by Maeda.
We could maybe lose 2 out of 3 there. Seriously, I think.
I mean, it seems. I don't want to lose Atati, but it just seems everywhere, and I listen to other Celtic, and everybody just seems to be under the assumption that he's going. So I've almost accepted that he's going to be one. Kuhn, I'm not so sure about, because he's had that wee sort of dip in the middle of this season. He might need another crack at it, but teams might look at his European performances, and he had really good European performances, in fairness to him. So he might be one, but I'm not too sure. I hope it's a summary getting rid of the deadwood, I feel like. And like Anthony touched on, a similar sort of investment is what we've done last summer. I mean, I know you said we technically never spent money. I think the last time we actually had a spend where it essentially cost us was the fatal COVID season, where I think we spent about 25 million and what a terrible season. I know that's no a barometer I should put in it. But I think that would be a big, if we sell, say we only sell some of our French players and manage to hold on to our top players, and then we go and spend the 30 to 35 million similar to what we done last season. And it is obviously, we spend more than we bring in. I think that is a massive, massive swing for the board. It does generally seem to be, we'll spend the money providing we sell somebody.
Aye, Franny, let's not kid ourselves. We are not, if we ain't going to go out and spend £30 million unless we're getting £20-25 million coming in. We're not, it's just not in the board's mindset to do that. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question. So I've already mentioned Kuhn, Maeda, and Hatate. If you had to lose one of them, who are you willing to lose?
Kuhn,
but on the basis
that mad.
I know
when you consider his numbers.
But I'm saying Kuhn on the basis that
other people they can add who they would. I mean, the hypothetical. Who would they be willing to lose? I know who I would like. Who I would prefer to go.
I've gun to my head. I'm saying Kuhn.
Kuhn, but on the idea that we're signing somebody like that Fiskgarden, who's kind of like a right winger striker. So kind of like if you play Maeda up top, he plays on the right, or Forrest does, or Yankee come on and Jota on the left, or Maeda can go left while Ida or Fiskgarden's up front. If we sign somebody like a Fiskgarden, Kuhn can go because there's a lot of fluidity in the front three then to move people around.
I just think Hatate, there's something about Hatate. I just think Rodgers might eventually get it out of him just to be more consistent. Maeda's just a non-negotiable for me. Unless
I generally would have sold him 6 months ago.
What? Aye, no.
Maeda, 6 months ago would have been absolutely.
It's not the benefit hindsight. I mean, Ross has been a massive fan of Maeda's for years, but I've been the same. But it's I've always felt he's a guy that at times I would always be first on my team sheet, but you would see some performers go and justifying it, and you're like, you just need to have him in your team. So for me, Maeda's just a non-negotiable. I think he should just be knocking back all bids for it. Unless he comes and goes, look, I fancy that. It's a different story.
I'd like to think that his family situation now with the new kid
might help.
He's going to want to stay. He's rooted here now for 3.5 seasons now. I'd like to think he's now rooted here that he's like, nah, I'm not going to move my whole family to Spain or Italy or Germany. I'm either going to stay here or move back to Japan.
It's
and
the money.
I don't think Japan can
it's got to be money. And like, you couldn't begrudge him it because it's one of the ones we are built on selling when folk are at their peak, and nobody's more at their peak than now. But I just think, for me, Maeda's are non-negotiable. Providing he's not making noise to want to move, it's just didn't entertain anybody for that guy. But we'll kind of just get back to the game, Jed. And I mean, if anything tells you that football's scripted, it was our equalising goal. Just shows that. I mean, folks say that you couldn't make it up. You totally could make it up. If anybody was going to break their score on Saturday, it just had to be Forrest. And fair play to Alistair Johnson. I mean, obviously, like you said, you want to get a result on in Trophy Day. He picked up middle of goal, about 20 yards out, had the chance to shoot. Now, I'm not saying he knew Forrest was there. He obviously knew a player was there, and the likelihood is it was Forrest. And he played a nice ball into him. Forrest hits it first time, gets a clean strike. You can maybe argue the keeper should do more, but it was number 49 scoring in the 94th minute. It eventually got that goal, and you'll know better than us, but the cheer sitting on the telly is madness. I mean, me and my dad, I watched it with my dad and my sister and mum. We were going mental in the living room. It was nuts.
Oh, I know. It was, the stadium was just went mental. And how, like you say, how very fitting to become the most decorative player in the club's history. And he scored the goal that made it 16 seasons in a row. It's stuff of fairy tales, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
And look, there still looks a player in there as well. I mean, on Wednesday night, Aberdeen, you were just pleading for him to get a goal. You were actually hoping somebody got a penalty, let him take it. Just everybody was just wanting him to do it, and you've seen like all the team went over to him and that as well. It was really good, and it was something
right up next to you as well, Jed. Right up your end of the park.
It was just phenomenal. Just so it certainly cheered me up. Getting that, and I told you at the start, there was the boy just sits along for us. They had £500 on him to score at any time, 6-1. So 3,000 back.
That's nice cash. Nice cash. Fair play to the guy. Gamble responsibly, but what a bet that is. What a bet. Anthony, as I said, it felt like the game was dying out. Johnny Kenny had a great chance that he created himself where he pulled off 2 decent saves for the keeper. It was one where good for Johnny Kenny where he one touch and he's away for I can't remember the bald lady's guy's name. I'm sure he was at Celtic at one point as well. Cannot remember his name. It plays centre half or something. No, it's a big centre half. That's Goddick. Aye.
Goddick was at Hammer.
Absolutely. Aye. And he done him for pace. Keeper makes a good save and then he gets the rebounds. Yeah. I'm not expecting Kenny to score for there. I think Kenny does really well, but then as I say, just as Jed said, as fairy tales would have it, and the day that he technically officially comes the most decorative player in Celtic's history, he gets that goal that, I mean, obviously I think folk would have still been happy if we got a draw, but I think that almost made it feel like a win, that the fact that it was James Forrest that got that goal right at the depth as well. It was almost the last kick of the ball.
Yeah. It was a really piss poor game overall. But that kind of, I mean, a win would have been better, but that kind of made it up that it was him of all players to get that goal at the end. And it kind of made what was 93 and a half minutes of absolute dire football from us all the worth it to see James get that goal, to see the celebrations, the kissing of the badge, the look in his face, and I think we call it limbs from the fans as they exploded into euphoria with it. I was listening to Alistair Johnston, it was after the game, and he was talking about it as well. And he made a couple of kind of quirky points about it, as how they'd all been trying to get him to get his goal like for weeks now. And it's even at the point that like all the players, you could see it yourself when we were watching games, the pass of the ball to Forrest, and he's trying to find the assist and get things, and they're all shouting him, just fucking shoot. Like they encourage him, so when it comes through to him, as it was the AJ lays it through to him, just outside the 6-yard box, he's a bit of an angle to it. You're kind of thinking, is he going to try and just square it back across? But he just fucking
not a chance. Not a chance.
I mean, listening back on the replays, you actually hear the fucking ball skip the net. It's not that much of a shot on it. It's like fucking absolutely superb. Brilliant for the wee man.
It reminded me a lot. I remember when just after Billy McNeil died, and we played their home game and Seaman scored in the 67th minute and he was wearing number 5. Some things
and rising header as well.
Yes, things are written in the stars, and I think that was as well. It was just something, all Celtic fans, where you were there to watch it on the screen, will remember. Just like I said, to become the most decorative player, but to score the goal as well. Almost the last minute of the game, and he got his goal to continue the scoring record.
Was it 18 seasons?
16 seasons in the trot, but 13 league campaigns in the trot. Yeah. So I think it's 16 seasons in the trot and 13 league campaigns in the trot.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just we're all over to next season, just needing it again.
Is there no record at 18 seasons? I'm sure Sky put something up.
No, 100% sure what the record
he's only 33, so.
I was going to say, can we keep him for another 2 years just so
he's certainly got another year in his contract. Yeah. He's got another year in his contract, and looking at Rogers certainly last season and this season. There you go, smell the gloves, confirmed 18 seasons as a record.
Does he know who that person is?
I was just going to say if he can come back and tell us, that'd be great. But aye, that'd be some record, and we'll just go through all this carry on again. But it's Rodgers, like you said, Jed. He's still got something to show and something to offer. And Rodgers certainly last season and this season, coming at the end of the season, is used Forrest well, and he's kind of not got us all the line solely, but he's certainly contributed to
last season. He
almost dragged us
in
out.
The last 3 months of the season. He was a major factor to get us over the line in both the league and the cup. So it was and I think now people, he has had a lot. Let's not kid ourselves. He's had a hard time as well from some of the fans. So I don't think he'll need to get that again. I think people will be forever grateful for what he's achieved to supersede, Bobby Lennox in the most, decorative player in the club's history is just phenomenal. There was a brilliant picture of Forrest with Bobby Lennox and Lennox's wife. So I thought that was quite fitting as well.
No, it wasn't. Obviously, folk might say, well, Bobby, like the European Cup probably counts for 25 medals alone, but it is just a nice touch that we've still got somebody, one of our own, somebody that came through the ranks is now hung about. I mean, Callum McGregor might supersede that, but I think after they two, you're never going to see this. I don't think there'll ever be an opportunity to do this again because folk just didn't hang about that long at a football club anymore. So,
what you've got to watch as well is coming this weekend, Callum McGregor, am I right in saying he's never lost a final?
Probably. I would need to check, but
let's just
it'd be hard to think. I would hard to think. Sorry, Anthony, what you got to say there?
You're saying we might not see this again with Forrest and Calmac. If Anthony Ralston just keeps hanging around as a backup right back, he'll end up being the most decorated player.
You make a good point.
Guys, what you've got to mind as well, when Martin O'Neill came in, that was the first time that I can remember getting the treble, because it was Jockstein prior to that. Yeah, when I first went to the games, Jockstein was still the manager, but I was a young kid. So, and when you see our trophy haul in the last 20 years, it's phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
And listen, people can say, trebles are easy. Trebles aren't easy.
No.
If trebles were easy, Man City have been winning them the last 13 years. Man United would have been doing it when they were at their prime. It is not an easy thing to do. So I believe this will be a world record as well.
I think so. I think it'll be 9 in total, Jedi.
Yeah. Which, surely that's got to be the motivation and go, put your name. A lot of these players have already set their name in history of the club, but that's just cement it. Let's just get it, and there you go. I mean, McGregor's going to be, is it his 6th? But McGregor's 6th.
Well, because he would have been... Because Rodgers has kind of made it along.
And he was 6th, yeah. Unbelievable.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. But at least 5.
Yeah.
Definitely 5, but I think you might be right, Jed, 6, because that's just madness.
I mean, I'm trying not to jump ahead to Saturday. I'm already getting excited for it.
No, I know. The thing is, it's hard not to get excited, Jed, when we've pretty much turned Aberdeen. Apart from earlier on the season, we've turned Aberdeen over every time we played them. And I think they're the type of team that now, if you get a goal early, that big pitch, I think it could. Yeah. I think it could be any score. But I'll kind of come to yourself, McGinty, and we'll kind of briefly talk about Saturday, looking at the last couple of games and stuff, that the Aberdeen game and Saturday. Now, obviously, Jed said at the top of the show about that he thinks that will be the starting lineup for Saturday. I'm of that mindset as well, that who played in Saturday is your cup final starting lineup. But do you think anybody's played their way in or played their way out? of that. Obviously, I think the Freers would prefer Nawrocki to be in, but that's not going to happen.
Well, as you say that, who's played themselves into it and who actually gets in is two different things in it. Because Nawrocki, for the three of us, definitely has played himself into that game. I think we need to look at the right wing position and Kuhn. Has he done enough to merit starting the cup final? And then has Forrest done enough? And also Yang done enough? I know a lot of us think Yang's much better coming off the bench and having that impact, but even when he's played from the start in some games this season, he's actually looked really good and really hungry. And he's looked good again when he came on at the weekend there. I wouldn't be against either one of those two starting ahead of Kuhn. I think where it might get interesting is where do we play Maeda? We all know fine well that he's so much more lethal and beneficial to us through the middle. And I think, aside from Brendan Rodgers having his favourites, I think Adam Ida's played himself out of the cup final more than anything else for me. But I think he'll probably start it as well. Yeah.
6 goals in 6 games.
Who would you start? Who would you start up front? Adam Ida or Dyson Maeda?
Under what we have currently, I think Adam Ida. If I had a full quota of players, I'm probably putting Maeda through the middle with Jota on the left.
Jota on the left. Why not put Yang on the left? Kuhn on the right or Forrest on the right? Maeda through the middle. That's kind of where my head's going. I think
Yang's looked all right the last couple of games, but Yang's not getting a start for me at all.
Like I did say, I do think that is going to be the starting 11 what started. However, if there is a change, I can see it when Forrest coming in, Ida start going on the bench and Maeda up top. That's
Forrest off the left, maybe.
Yeah.
It's probably the only one that I would see happening, but what does that say for Adam Ida? That again, you've got a winger injured. He's got 6 goals in 5 games if you want to be pernickety, and 6 goals in 6
He's
games.
only played
the weekend.
90 minutes twice this season.
It's not a great look if you didn't play.
We've had this
go back to the trusty thing. I spent £9.5 million on him. I kind of need it to work if I didn't play him in a cup final when I'm no recognised striker, if you like.
So raw numbers,
we all concede.
Raw numbers, he's been fantastic. If you was at 20 goals now,
yes.
And me and Stephen were on here September time, October time, when he just scored 5, and I made the point of saying that if he kept scoring at that rate, 5 goals every 2 or 3 months, whatever it was, he'd probably hit about 20, and you'd be content with that. And I don't want to go back on my own self, and I don't want to be too hypocritical of myself, but I don't believe anybody who will sit here, and I'm not being used to particular, and tell me that he's actually been a good footballer and he's actually played well. His numbers tell you that he's scoring goals, and I get that, and you can't argue with 20 goals as, in essence, as a backup striker. Ignore his price tag. We've got absolute risk, but that's not Adam Ida's fault. 20 goals for a backup striker is absolutely fantastic.
Yes,
but he's not a very good football player. He looks, whenever he starts, I don't think we look like we're going to score. How he gets his goals is sometimes a fucking mystery. And I don't mean that totally disrespectful, because, again, the raw numbers tell you that he's doing something right at some place. But I can't help but feel that games would be a lot more comfortable if he was able to take his chances a bit better, or looked more, I don't want to say look more enthusiastic, because he does look interested at times, but if he played a bigger role in the attacking setup, the anxiety that some of the fans pick up on might not be as bad if he actually played better football, if that makes some sort of sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sense, because, again, I can't argue with 20 goals as a backup striker. It's a great return.
Guys, does he start or does he not start?
Not for me.
It starts. I mean,
I think
he's going to start. I've always been in his corner trying to back him. Of late, It's been harder and harder. I still think he's a very good squad player to have. I'm certainly not saying get rid of it. I mean, if we got offered $9.5 million in the summer, I would snap somebody's hands off for it. But like Anthony touched on, his numbers cannot be argued with. He's got 20 goals. I mean, that's the first time in I think it was over 30 years. I don't even think Larsson, Hartson and Sutton managed to get 20 goals between them each in a season. So there's a lot to be said for that. If Ida sticks around and plays the same amount of minutes or similar next season, I don't doubt he'll score 20 goals. I always just think he's a goals and bunches type guy. He might just go now 5 or 6 games. I appreciate it's at the end of the season, but he might go a few games and not score now, but then he'll go 4 or 5 games and score 5 to 7 goals.
But it gives us the option, should we want to mix it up a bit, we can put a long ball in.
It does give us that.
I
just don't think he holds it up enough well enough.
No, I know that. I mean, listen, that's why Rodgers gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he starts, but also wouldn't be surprised if Maeda's played up top.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the only way Forrest. I think that's the only way Forrest starts is if Maeda's through the middle. But it doesn't. I don't think it looks good in Rodgers, and I don't think it's great for Ida's confidence if, considering Kyle goes away, Jota's injured, Maeda's then had to go back out on the left, and then you didn't play him in the cup final after he's, in fairness, has scored 6 goals in his last 6 games.
Yeah. Can I ask you something, Franny? And it's kind of like a half gotcha thing I'm maybe trying to do here, so I don't mean to be an absolute dick to you. But a similar question sometimes has been asked about who should be the number 1 goalkeeper or who should start the cup final. Sinisalo or Schmeichel. And a lot of people will say Casper. And the straight up answer to that is he's your number 1 goalkeeper. He's the better of the two. And if the best one's fit, the best one starts. If we agree to that, and I don't disagree with that at all, it's a very sensible, straightforward logic. But if we agree to that, do we not have to agree with that principle for the striker? And the best one is Dyson Maeda, especially in a game that you need to win a cup final. You want to hit them fast, you want to hit them hard, you want to get those goals early. Dyson Maeda is the better striker for that.
No, I totally agree. But where I would have to push back on that is your option out left, Jota, is out injured, so you've not got that. You've not got that, so that by default, Maeda starts up front. If Jota was fit, Maeda for me starting through the middle on Saturday, even with Jota's 6 and 6, Maeda would still start through the middle. I just think, as I think Maeda, he does a goals and bunches guy, and then he'll go 4 or 5 games, and his problem in the 4 or 5 games when he doesn't score, sometimes doesn't do much else.
Unfortunately,
I think it was Michael Stewart, and I think Ross has said very similar. No issue with Ida sticking around, no issue with him continuing the current role he seems to have, where he's sort of in and out. It's a wee bit unfair, especially on striker, when you're trying to build up a bit of momentum. But I couldn't hang my hat on the guy to be our number 1 striker right now, which could be harsh considering he scored 20 goals this season. It's not been a number 1 striker.
Yeah, that's why we always have to keep saying it. It's not his fault that we paid £9 million for him. That is completely on the club. We got caught with knickers down, and there's nothing Adamida could do about it. Same way Arnie Engels. There's nothing they could do about the price tag. But he's still bagging you fucking 20 goals. You can't. Even last season there was a lot of penalties, but this season's not a lot of penalties. This is like 20 goals from open play.
Because Engels is time wasting.
Yeah. So it's like you really can't argue for a backup striker. I mean, somebody put in the chat earlier, who was it? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, see if we signed him for £1.5-2 million. That fucking go to fucking shitty fucking couple of million no mark signing from the fucking back end of the championship or one of some nonsense.
But then £9.5 million maybe is getting you 20 goals now.
Well, it is, but we'd all be raving about what a fucking bargain it would be. Well, that's brilliant. We only paid $1.5 million for him. That's you fucking throw a dart at for a gem. He'd be seen totally different, and that's not his fault. and I shouldn't judge him because of it. Unfortunately, it does play in the back of my head that he's not worth the money that we spent. But then 20 goals a season. Of course, he's fucking
Anthony, you'll buy a couple of goals in the weekend and they'll be worth every penny.
I think he's worth every penny already. What he gave in that 6 months, he's worth every penny in that 9.5 million. Do I now think we pay over odds? Yes, I do. But it's just one of them. Here's what he wants for you, Anthony. Just for you. Would you have Dessers, not Dessers or Adamida, but do you think Dessers is a bad player?
I generally don't watch him enough.
Because what annoys me is some folk, not necessarily yourself, but some folk will go, how can Adamida be crap when he's got 20 goals? And it's like, it can. I'm not saying he's crap, but you can say somebody's not contributing enough. But equally, except I know he scored 20 goals. It can be both. And they'll always go, Dessers is crap, Dessers is crap. The guy's got about 27 goals this season.
I've not seen enough of Dessers to make a comment if I think he's actually a good football player and if he makes an impact in games or not. I can only go by what I hear of,
I think his minutes per goal is better than Adamida's as well.
Possible, because he doesn't.
But he's played a lot more 90 minutes than Adamida.
He has played a lot more 90 minutes. I'll give you that, Jed.
But is the whole thing with Dessers not like he takes like fucking 3, 4, 5, 6 chances before he gets that goal? But
there was one game he had 10 chances before he scored.
The CV's still banging 27 goals just in the league. Mm-hmm. Does it matter if you take 10 chances to get you're still clearly scoring one every fucking, I don't know, every fucking game in a quarter or whatever the fuck it is. You're still banging the goals, and that's probably the opposite of what, and this is just going off of what people criticise Dessers for, that he needs all those chances before he scores. Adamida doesn't need all those chances because he's not impacting the game that much. Yeah, he still gets his 20 goals. I think that's a compliment to Adamida, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to Dessers without trying to give them too many compliments. Because obviously Dessers is, for them, making an impact. He's getting in and about, trying to get his shot, and he eventually does. So, what one would I take? Adamida, of course, because I wouldn't want Dessers on my team because he's one of them. But,
well, I'm a Jed. I think Adamida, he has big moments in big games. So I'm fully confident he'll do it. And just before we finish, Jed, I'll come to yourself as a guy that obviously is a season ticket holder. Obviously, we've seen that everybody gathered at the Tron Gate. There was an orange walk that Glasgow City Council signed off on, but they wouldn't sign off on an organised street party. I think I heard rumours online in another podcast that Celtic apparently applied for Glasgow Green, but it got rejected. But Tifo McFlush is asking, would a fan zone being installed in the future maybe be better for title parties and stuff, and it might just keep everybody in? I'm not saying it'll keep the trouble away, but you might help keep the trouble away.
Listen, Franny, you're going to get trouble, right? There were some, it was a 9 arrests or 19 arrests, right? Mm-hmm. You've got young guys who are cocked out their nut on top of alcohol and everything. So it's going to happen. We've all seen the videos yesterday and today. Celtic played a blinder here where the Ashley says fans encourage them not to go, because then if there was anything, they could say, well, it's nothing at all to do with us. Where I'm disappointed in the club, they should have said, however, we're really disappointed in Glasgow City Council for not coming out with Glasgow Green. People could have went there. Yeah. It's just very poor organisation from the council. It really is. Yeah. And listen, when you see the footage as well, there were still thousands there, but there didn't seem to be as many as what's been the last few years. But when I was heading home, you could clearly see people who weren't at the game and cars piling in and people walking in from the Royal Infirmary end and everything like that. They weren't at the game. They were just piling down. So they were. I didn't go. I know it wasn't for me. And maybe if it was in Glasgow Green, possibly could have went. And yeah, and I think as well, a lot of people maybe get put off going because typical press blowing it all up about a walk being on and potential trouble and things like that. It's some people just, especially if you've got young kids and that, you don't want to take them there in case anything does happen. Where if there was more organised in Glasgow Green or something like that, I think you could maybe have had a more family base going and set up portaloos, set up skips to put the rubbish and that in. But unfortunately, like I touched on right at the beginning there, you are going to get people who they don't care. They'll go out and they think they're the big man. They'll go and cause trouble, fighting amongst our own fans. A bit poor.
I totally agree. And like Sam Francis, like, not got to sit here and act a big angel. We've all had a drink and unquestionable things and acted the goat. I think it's just more frustrating that, because obviously, for me anyway, because Glasgow City Council tried to distance himself out and say, don't do it, don't do this. Celtic obviously done similar, but maybe in a cleverer way. It was just, we knew it was kind of got to happen. And like you said, thousands of fans said it'd be amazing if there wasn't any trouble of any sorts. It'd be absolutely amazing, especially hot weather, drinking. It's going to happen, unfortunately. But
there are more arrests at tea in the park.
Oh, no, totally agree, Jed. But I just think,
or whatever,
considering the message that I was transient now, but tea in the park was the same, Jed. There would be more. Because obviously Glasgow City Council and Celtic said to fans not to gather. The Neville fights did happen, Anthony. By our accounts, I don't know how many, 9 arrests out of God knows how many thousands were there. Yes, 1 arrest probably wrong, but it now gives them ammunition to go, look, we told you not to do it, you still done it and caused trouble. That's why. I think that's maybe the frustrating bit for my bit, and maybe try to have it more organised maybe helps control that a wee bit more. There's blame you can put to somebody then if trouble kicks off, I guess.
I don't think Celtic should be blamed for the actions of individuals, and I don't think the council should be blamed for the actions of individuals. If individuals want to go out and get pished out the nut, coked after the heat, whatever it is they're doing, and start fights and start being little assholes, and they get arrested, that's on them as an individual. It's not on the club. The club can't be responsible for that, and the council can't be responsible for that, even if it's in a fan zone, safe zone, whatever you want to call it. But the two of them, the club and the council, can do a lot more to try and minimise that and make a fucking occasion about it. It's not that long ago, was it 2 months ago? Not even 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago. Newcastle managed to fucking have an open-top bus parade through the city, and was it fucking the Moor or whatever they fucking call it in Newcastle? They had a whole fucking park in a park. Tens of thousands of people showed up. The players were there. Celebrations were going on. It was an organised event for a massive celebration of winning a trophy, first one in 70 years, I think it was. It was mental. It was great. Why are we not doing that? Go to Paris. Go to Barcelona. Barcelona's got Espanyol somewhere close to them, but the ones club kind of cities, the cities are plastered. Like, if you've ever been to Paris, everywhere you go is plastered with fucking PSG banners on the fucking lampposts going across the fucking streets and the bridges, fucking billboards and buses and stuff. It's all advertising PSG and the players and all the rest of it. You don't see that shit in Glasgow. You don't really see that anywhere in Scotland, to be fair. You don't even see it in Aberdeen. In Scotland, we seem to be the only fucking place where we want to hide the fucking national sport and the fucking pastime that brings so much joy to so many people and so much money to the country. We want to fucking hide it and criminalise it as if we're all fucking bad people and boogeymen. The council could do so much more. The club could do so much more, trying to work with everybody as well. They are on the rise, but I'm sure there's not many Pirates
FC is
flags on their side. But
what is more worrying? Sorry, what is more worrying about? So you go, Anthony. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No, I was just going to finish off. Why is the club not doing more? Why is the council not doing more? As we say, you get more arrests and shit like that, Transbit, Tea in the Park, wherever the fuck it is. Use Glasgow Green. It's a prime position, especially for us. Use Bellhouston Park for them whenever they fucking win the odd occasion. But why are they not doing more to actually? It's not like they didn't know this was coming up for months in advance. Plan it better. Charge a tenner for a ticket or some stupid shit like that. It's going to be overpriced fucking lager. Don't let the club be in charge of fucking, the entertainment, because they'll just kill it. But put a stage on where you can bring the players on and raise the cup again, sort of thing. Have a bit of a chat. Bring on a couple of local artists to play some music within respectful limits, sort of thing, and contain it all. Make money out of it. Make the cleanup process easier. And see when inevitably fans then leave that fan zone after maybe 4, 5, 6 hours, and they want to cause shit in the town centre. Then go fucking deal with that shit and criminalise them at that point, because they've been wee arseholes and being fucking dicks out the street. But don't basically starve us all of celebrating shit and then make us all out to be bad people, because, individually take your own responsibility. If you're going to be a cokehead or a drunkard and fucking cause havoc, you're going to get arrested. Take responsibility. But don't be surprised when it fucking happens when you've done nothing to help kind of contain it or help control the situation. They've let this happen because they're all too happy, the council especially, to criminalise Celtic fans, to criminalise football fans overall in this country. It's madness.
But Anthony, I think there's been a more worrying things happened over the last few weeks, 5, 6 weeks, where the press are having a field day. Oh, look at the state of this. Look at they're fighting amongst themselves. There's no. Is the incident that happened at Tannadice brushed under the carpet now, where a seat getting thrown on? Is the bottles and all that getting thinged at our keeper at the last derby game? What's worse?
Oh, that's a lot worse. That's a lot worse kind of situations where you've got fans now. I was listening to the BBC podcast on Scottish Football Roundup every weekend or whatever it was, and they made the point about that as well, that this is happening now all too often at these end of season games, where fans are just feeling like they can, in all the leagues, they feel like they can just run onto the pitch and do whatever the fuck they want, and it's getting to the stage where you see seats are getting thrown, bottles are getting thrown. What was it happened at the Aberdeen game? Somebody got injured.
The Aberdeen
player
broke the seat and threw it, and it actually hurt one of their own players and said to get stitches.
Nuts.
And what's his name? The ex-Aberdeen manager, now Dundee United manager. There's been bottles thrown at him in the past from Aberdeen fans as well. So, listen, let's not kid ourselves. Every club has have a bad element in the support. Every club. We're not immune to it. Aberdeen's not immune to it. Dundee United, Hearts, Hibs, whatever. But I just feel as though the press have had a field day. They were hoping they're going to be trouble. There were skirmishes, 9 arrests or 19 arrests, whatever it was.
I think it was 9.
But let's just hope next season, should we win the league, that there is something better organised.
No.
I think P. McLaughlin's putting in the chat as well about, could we not do something at Celtic Park at the Celtic Way? We now have Lennoxtown, Barfield and the Celtic Way and the areas around there. I know we won't want to invite people onto the pitch at Celtic Park. We wouldn't want to ruin the pitch in any way, even though we've got the off-season for a few weeks. But yeah, surely there's somewhere, if we're not going to let the council take charge of it, make some money off it by doing it at the green or whatever, where we're not allowed to hire the green on behalf of the club, surely we've got enough places within the club's facilities to be able to say, fuck it, we'll go make a fucking fan zone at the fucking Barfield. We'll do it at the Celtic Way. Maybe you won't get fucking 15,000, 20,000 at the Celtic Way, but you still get enough to say this is the fan zone, this is where the celebrations are. Anything out with here, then the police and authorities can. The police and authorities could do whatever they wanted in the realms of, putting down the law at the Trongate Park if they wanted to, but it'd be, up shit creek trying to deal with that. But there's a way of saying, this is like the fan zone, this is the celebration, let's contain the stuff here, let's make this the moment, that's where people want to go to, and control it in a positive manner. But at the same time, somebody can make some money out of it. we're Celtic fans. We're all happy to be funding the club in some way, and we're all happy to spend our money on the good times and the bad times as well, of course. But I mean, if the club can provide us something, we'll spend money on it to show our support for the club in any way we can. So fucking, it's baffling why we don't do these kind of things.
Nah, but I think, like you said, Jed, moving forward, it seems the thing to do now is have some sort of street party or celebration, big mass celebration, mass gathering of a league win. So I think the club and council need to get together and go, look, great, we need to come to some sort of solution moving forward, because this is just going to happen every year. Let's make money out of it. Let's cover the clean-up cost.
Glasgow City Council cannot criticise all the time the economic that's brought into Glasgow from fans who's coming and staying over or drinking in the bars before, after the games. All the taxes and all that is getting paid in. Glasgow City Council, or Glasgow itself, make a lot of money out of fans from both teams.
Yeah.
So
totally
they need to come and go then if there is somebody put up a good point there. If it's Celtic, Glasgow Green, and you said as well, if it's Rangers, Bellahouston. Give them, let fans go and congregate there. It's easy to police if it's out with. It's not closing all the roads and everything like that. I just, come on. Let them just go and celebrate and put an organised
event on. Nah, totally agree. And we'll kind of just wrap up there. We've got a cup final we look forward to on Saturday, like Jed was touching on. A record-breaking 9th treble awaits us. I say awaits us is there for the taking. We'll be back Friday.
Well, Fanny, see before you go, because
I
don't think any of us will be on Friday. What's your score prediction?
I'm going for, mate. I honestly think it's going to be a really, really good day. A really good day. Yourself, you got a ticket? Did you manage to get a ticket, Jed?
No, because I couldn't. I got offered through the ballot for the semi-final, and I should have taken them, even though I couldn't make it to the semi-final. I should have taken them. No, I've got seats. I've actually got seats up at the pub. Got a few tables. So I have. Anthony, what do you think the score's going to be?
Against Aberdeen, Hampden pitches, people will be saying, big open pitch. I think we'll score a few. 3-4 at least to us. I would hope for a clean sheet, but maybe they'll get one. Let's go 4-1.
Well, I'm going 3-0.
We're all there or thereabouts. But we'll be back. We've had commitment for Friday so far, but it's Monday. So let's see what happens come Friday. That commitment might go elsewhere.
Let's not get too far ahead of us.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I mean, as we've said, we appreciate everybody's patience. It's just working, obviously, holidays, family life. It's just weird to just go. Everybody's got things going on now, and we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can. We're needing the end of the season as well, to be fair, to get a few weeks off for ourselves. But no, that'll do it for the night. It was Trophy Day on Saturday. We've won another one. That's as, like Anthony touched on, there's 55. We can have a wee moment to celebrate it, then put it in the bin where it belongs, and we'll see you Friday, team. So we'll love yous and leave yous, and I'll say stay well,